they control commerce. They control the money, with Wall Street, with politics. Nancy Pelosi getting kickbacks from stuff deals she's making with credit card companies. The guys like the head of the Libertarian Party nationally being tied to big pharma. Stuff like that. Like Ben Shapiro even being tied to big pharma, being tied to pharmaceuticals. And why is he an opinion leader on that subject? It's crossed interest, right? But their opinions are what matter. They're pushing their opinions out on the rest of us. So this is why this is dangerous, because they control so much. This is how J.B. Pritzker ends up in office. This is how Newsom ends up in office, because he's related to Pelosi or whatever. They put these key people that control the money, know how to do that, into these key positions where now they can influence everything. We don't want that, right? We need to be able to take back our control from the elites. They are doing these things, and they structure the laws so that they get monopolies. Bill Gates, getting government-sanctioned monopolies. Google having government-sanctioned monopolies and having control over what we see and don't see. Facebook, same thing, government-granted monopolies. They're given these powers by the politicians to the business people, and they keep screwing each other back and forth. And I'm not talking just on the Democrat side. I'm talking the Republicans too. The Republicans cheat just as much as everybody else. When you're talking about the neocon war profiteers, with like the Halliburton garbage and stuff like that. When you're talking about the cronyism, the crony capitalism that has gone on, that it's not just one side or the other. It's both sides that are crooked as hell. And this is why we have to take the power back from these people. Okay, so that's one of the arms that they use, right? Now, and this is probably the top arm that controls essentially the rest. Because they use this to build the other three. So this is the more senior of the three. This over here is the most insidious and the most deeply rooted in all of it. But this is another control mechanism. This is the Nazi Volkskampfer. This is the Nazi radio where you only get your information one way. Shaping minds through mainstream media and Hollywood, right? So that's what they're doing. It controls art forms, because when you're talking about Hollywood, you're not just talking about Hollywood movies. You're talking about the commercials that come out of there. You're talking about music that comes out of LA and Tennessee, all of it. The entire art field is corrupted and taken over by these guys for the most part. When I have a friend of mine who does voiceover work tell me that she can't be tied to the right, otherwise it would completely, well, she didn't tell me that, her husband did, but it would completely potentially kill their careers if they were ever seen to be right people. When you have careers of artists potentially dead just because they are they say openly that they believe in right-wing values, I mean, this is screwed up, right? So and now this is the interesting thing. So you seep this into people's minds slowly through this, right? You feed it in through every art form. Every form of art has it. Every form of entertainment has it. You turn on a Disney movie, there's some kind of agenda. You turn on a TV program in the afternoon, there's some kind of agenda bled in there. You want to watch superhero shows, it's bled in there. Everything, it's molding and sculpting the minds of what society should be. We don't have the Leave It to Beaver anymore, right? So now, and then you go down here and you've got your news, right? So all of the news that comes filtered into you is completely controlled, and they only say what they want you to hear. They only say what they want you to hear. So they are controlling your mind through the news. And this is why a lot of people on the right don't even watch mainstream media. A lot of people watch Fox, which is okay. The problem is Fox is owned by Disney, and Disney is a liberal corporation as well. So to think that you're going to be getting much out of Fox for that long, I wouldn't bet on it. Then you've got celebrity opinions. We get this every election cycle, right? Every election cycle, some celebrity wants to tell you how to vote. They want to tell you who you should vote for. They want to tell young people that they need to get out and vote. Drinking a Coke from the Pepsi generation. But they want to tell you what you should think. They want to tell you about some bill, some thought process. They want to name their kid a freaking symbol or some dumb name. Or and this is the best part, or they literally are causing mental disorders with their children by dressing up in the wrong sexual orientation. I'm sorry, but a kid at the age of 5 doesn't know if they're a boy or a girl. That is not a thing. That is not a thing. I'm sorry, no. If you're dressing up a boy as a girl, you are damaging that child. You are. But those are the ways. It's cool to do that, It's cool not to decide what sex they are. It's not cool. It's ridiculous. It's delusion. It's literally like mental delusion that's going on. And it's how they feed in because they've been put on this pedestal as these great artists. All they really are is just a jester. They're there to entertain us. They're not these great stars that we should be awestruck about. They are jesters meant to entertain and make us laugh. That's how we should be thinking of them, not as some great gods of entertainment and opinion. But that's what we do, and that's what we've been taught to do. Okay? So the next one here, and this is how they do it, right? In schools. So this is where they control the minds of children for generation after generation after generation, and they keep making it worse and worse and worse. And it's a self-perpetuating machine at this point because you have children that have gone through the system now teaching children who are going through the system, and it keeps repeating, and it keeps getting worse and more liberal and more revised versions of our history, to the point where we've canceled Columbus Day. We no longer say the Pledge of Allegiance. It's bad to be proud of your country. When you mention Thomas Jefferson, oh my God, he was a slave owner. Ugh, what a horrible person. Our founding fathers were terrorists. This is how they do that in here. Slowly, generation after generation. And if you haven't watched it, Yuri Bezmenov, one of the best videos out there. I'll drop a link on this video to his video. Yuri Bezmenov, watch that video about how it was a planned attack. Now, I don't know if it started by the Russians and now it's just kept going and it's been let loose, if the Russians are still involved in it, if the Chinese got in, I don't know any of that stuff. What I do know is this guy is talking about exactly what is going on and how it was perpetrated. Now, through this is how they control the future, right? They control the present here, they plan here, and they control the future here, okay? And this is where they shape what culture will be, right? Because this is what they teach you. Your values should be, what you should think is right and wrong. This is it right here. And this is, I talked about it yesterday on the video, how they're going to put more control and more craziness in on this section coming up. You're going to have less control over the minds of your own children. It literally is probably going to turn into, it's probably going to turn into similar setup to Auschwitz, to the Hitler Youth. I mean, that is where we are headed over here, okay? This is this is how they control the minds of the present. What's going on, what information are you getting fed to you daily, and the old saying about we each have a good wolf and a bad wolf in us. Well, this is just feeding the bad wolf, right? That's all this one does. This one controls it from the top. Now, this one is the shadow. This is the shadow control. This is probably the most insidious and most disgusting of any of them. Psychology and psychiatry. So here, they decide what is sane. What is sane and what is not. What thoughts are sane and what are not. Here, they get to say, we think Trump is crazy. He should be committed. They did that during the impeachment stuff. That was said, right? That's disgusting. Okay. Now, also here, they get to decide if you're crazy for disagreeing with this, if you're crazy for disagreeing with this, or if you're crazy for disagreeing with this. They literally can decide that you are mentally unfit to raise your children. They can decide that you're mentally unfit to own a gun. They can decide that you're mentally unfit because you just won't go along with the program. Pritzker was literally trying to pass a law that it was illegal to talk about anything anti-shelter-in-place order, including on social media. This is how they then go and say, well, if you're violating the law, you must be crazy. So that's where they decide who is crazy. So who is crazy? They get to decide. And how did they get this power? They got this power over here. The politicians gave them the power. I mean, you're talking about a field that is still in development and still has next to no idea what it's doing, right? I mean, let's think about this for a minute. Psychiatry, right? Pills. The idea of psychiatry 20 years ago was that you took a pill in order to help you get enough control in so you could get psychology to fix the issue. Now we've switched. Now the pill is everything. And what do? You get on one pill to handle something, and then it stops working because your body becomes immune to it. So they up the dosage. And when they up the dosage, now you're getting side effects all the time, by the way. But they up the dosage, and that lasts for so long. And then eventually they hit a point where they can't up the dosage anymore. So now they need to switch you to a different prescription. And then they just run the cycle over again. All the while, you're on antidepressants. Well, the antidepressants are causing you to be suicidal, so you need to take a second antidepressant. And both of those have a side effect of causing stress. So now you need to be on an anti-anxiety pill. All of that is causing high blood pressure, so now you need to be on a high blood pressure pill. It's crazy how this side works, right? Psychiatry has taken over. Psychology is no longer the thing. And this is where they decide on public opinion. This is where they control it. They run public opinion through here to see how to make it fit, and then they push it out here, and they push it out here, and a little bit over here as well. They decide what the public opinion is here, how it's going to be best worded, how it's going to go out. And like I said, they are tied to the law, and they have become deeply tied in here. School counselors that can literally tell your children that they have to be on an antidepressant. And you as a parent have to get them on an antidepressant. Otherwise, you are committing child abuse. You are an unfit parent if you don't do that. So they use these 4 pillars to constantly attack, control, and mold us. This is how they divide us, right? This is the division. They say blacks aren't supposed to like whites. Why? Why? Because the white man's been keeping you down, or the black man's stealing your job, or the Mexican's stealing your job, or whatever. Like, what? Like, no, I mean, there's plenty of jobs out there, and if there's not enough jobs, there's plenty of opportunity. And that's a beautiful thing of America. You can just go out and start your own business. There is always a need for something. That's innovation, right? The greatest cause of innovation is hardship. You need hardship in order to innovate and expand and become great. That is what you have to have. If you look at any great American story or any great story throughout history, it all started with some massive hardship. And out of that was forged, from the fire was forged steel. A human being of steel. And we have to have that hardship. And that is how, first off, they push the idea that you should never have hardship. Everything should be beautiful all the time. Both of these places. And then over here, they say, well, if you have hardship, you just need a pill. And then over here, they say, well, it's okay. Just feel sorry for yourself. We'll pay for your hardship. It's ridiculous. You talk about anything, it's those 4 pillars that are controlling all of it. And they are weakening us. They are dividing us into separate groups. They are using their tactics on one side or the other. You want to talk about global warming? Believe me, the global warming people have psychiatry 100% behind them. They have media behind them. They have the school system behind them. And they have the elites behind them. You know, Al Gore and his crony group, the whole Green New Deal Bernie team of chicks. You know, these people, and Greta, you know, like that whole thing, right? They have all of that built into a perfect media machine, a perfect PR machine that you can't break, right? Bill Nye gets on Tucker and, you know, looks like an idiot, but nobody cares. You know, they don't care. They don't care that he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. It's not a big thing. So they use those 4 pillars to separate, divide, and control us. And the way we come through it, right? This is the key. The way we come through it is by ignoring it and coming together ourselves tightly, right? As an American people, that is what we have to do. We have to be able to push aside all that garbage. You know, you don't believe that that somebody should have gun rights. Who cares? If you don't have the Constitution, you don't have a right to even say that. You know, so whatever your issue is with somebody else, you feel like a black man was given an opportunity you should have been given. Okay, fine, whatever. Put it aside for now. You know, black gentleman feels that a white man took his job. In reverse, you know, whatever. It's the same thing, right? We have to put this aside. This is why I like David Lowery Jr. I mean, the man is proud of his community, like we should all be proud of our communities. It shouldn't just be a white community proud of white people proud of white communities, black people proud of black communities. It should be, we're proud of Chicago, or we're proud of Philadelphia, or we're proud of Sacramento or LA or wherever, right? We should be proud of our area, and that includes all these little parts. We should be proud of our state, right? We should be proud of Illinois. I mean, it's a little hard right now. You should be proud of California, New Jersey, New York, whatever. Whatever state you're in, you should be proud of it. Again, I understand it's hard right now. Texas has this pretty well unlocked, though. Like, Texans are proud people, man. They got that down, and as far as the pride of the state. But then this is the worst one they've done so far. We should be proud of the United States. But again, what have we done, right? Over here, we've used this to turn it into a global idea, right? It's not about the U.S. anymore. And in fact, being proud of your country makes you a nut job. You're an extremist. You're a nationalist, a white nationalist, or a black nationalist, or whatever, right? Nationalist is a bad word all of a sudden. Being proud of your country is a bad thing, right? And future generations should be focusing on the world economy, the world agenda. You know, the UN is better than the US. And over here, if you don't agree with us, you're crazy, right? That's the pillars. That's the 4 pillars of control. So that's how they run, and we have to knock it off. We have to put egos aside. We have to put differences aside, and we have to start coming together as a people. If we don't start coming together, they've already devised how they're going to control us. They've already been running it for a long damn time, and they've been winning for a long damn time. We have to start coming tightly together to fight back against it. If we don't do that, they win, we lose. For the simple reason of we are divided. Divided, we fall. That's the whole plan, right? Divide and conquer. That's what they want to do. We're easier to pick off in little parts. You know, that's the whole idea. So we have to come together tightly as one people, right? And that's what Memorial Day is about. Coming together as a people, celebrating America, and celebrating the freedoms that Americans have fought and died for. Millions of Americans have fought and died for our freedoms. For our freedom to peaceably assemble, for our freedom to free speech, for our freedom of press, for our freedom of religion, for our freedom to carry arms, to bear arms, for our freedom to fair trials, for our, the list goes on and on and on and on. So, but they fought for this, for our ability to go after life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, to have those things. fought and died for our freedoms. So we celebrate them by going out and exercising those rights that are trying to be taken away. That is how we celebrate this Memorial Day when we are locked down. So I want you guys to come out to, on Memorial Day, noon local time, to Sacramento, state capital, Chicago, City Hall, Thompson Center, right between those. Or New Jersey, Point Pleasant Beach. I want you guys to go out there. We're going to have a bunch of good people out there talking, cheering, and having a good time. So, whoop, I lost the light. Oh, all right. Hold on. There we go. Change up the lighting a little bit. So, yeah, I want you guys to go out there. No matter what you have going on, I want you to go out there. I want you to spread the word on this. I want you to share this. Subscribe to the channel. Do all that good stuff too. But share this. You have to share this out so that as many people hear about it as possible. We need to get people out to these events so that we can beat the pillars, right? The pillars of control are what are going to destroy us. I need your help with this. So please help spread the word. Thank you. American Revolution 2.0 out.